always keep recruiting. Never get complacent with recruiting because there's always positions to fill. There's always positions that can be filled better, maybe by an outside professional, that kind of thing. You don't always have to be hiring in-house, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The tendency is always just to elevate people that do well.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back, Championship Leadership Podcast. We got Morgan Taylor here, residing out of LA. So how's it going, Morgan? Thanks for being here.
Great. And thanks for having me on, Nate.
Yeah, absolutely. Championship Leadership's the name of the podcast. What comes to mind for you, or what does championship leadership mean to you when you hear that?
I guess for me, it's about really resonates with how we've developed our team in-house, being a leader for your team, that kind of thing. It's only been more recently I've been thinking of it in terms of our industry, our niche, but certainly how you run your own business is relevant.
Yeah, absolutely. So while we hop into that and maybe tell the listeners a little bit about what it is that you do and what you're up to, and maybe the path that your life has taken you through to get to this point where, and what it is that you are doing today.
Yeah, of course. So right now I actually co-own two businesses. One is our SEO, search engine optimization marketing agency called Jolly SEO. We mostly do backlink building for websites, that kind of thing, if you're familiar with that. The other thing we're doing right now is a marketing app called Link Sourcery, which we're going to be doing a rebrand on it soon. But that just lets people do their own marketing outreach, get featured in good publications, without having to pay, a lot of fees to have other people do it out of house. And they've both been kind of interesting journeys because, the app was our first experience in software, so it came with its own challenges. But before all that, 5-6 years ago, I was actually bartending. And so my friend Greg Heilers, our co-owner, reached out to me, kind of got me back into doing writing gigs, gig work on the side, and that kind of snowballed into what we're doing now. That transformed into a content writing agency and then a marketing agency. So it's been a really cool journey for me personally, going from service industry to business ownership.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And I know the software journey can be an interesting one for just about everyone, right? It's always seems to become a bigger project than what they ever envision it being when they first start out, right? Has that been kind of the same for you guys, or how's that process gone?
Absolutely. And I think one of the sayings we heard was like about the 3X. So it's like takes 3 times as long, costs 3 times as much money. It's the third one. I don't know, 3 times as many problems or something, but it's been tough. We had what we thought was a great idea, and people like it. We basically turned the tools and practices and software that we use in-house at our agency and made it into something anyone can use. And it was, of course, like I said, from a non-technical founder side, it took a lot for us. It's hard to communicate with software developers in the way you might want. You have a great idea in your head, but getting that actually translated into a usable product takes a lot of time. And my advice there is get beta users in ASAP, get feedback. Don't try to imagine everything that the user base would want. Just get their feedback and then implement it like that. And that's what we've been doing now. But it was
makes sense.
Tough journey for sure. Have you done any software stuff yourself?
I haven't personally yet. I feel like at some point I probably will, but plenty of friends that have, and very similar story to what you're talking about. So, but that's awesome. It's cool that you're going out and you're doing it. It sounds like a great idea. And so it is. So basically you have the app developed now and people are using it?
Yeah, no, we're doing great now. We did a lifetime deal special back in February, and that was a success. And we're gaining a lot of MRR now. We have about 1,500 registered users using this sort of starter free plan, and quite a few people actually. Really, it's most popular with agencies, but also people that do in-house marketing for for clients, maybe as a freelance thing. But the idea is that it can save you a lot of time doing outreach, particularly on platforms like Help a Reporter Out, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Very cool. Well, who are some of the championship leaders, maybe mentors, coaches, people that have impacted you, and more so like what are some of the characteristics of those individuals that have really stood out to you that maybe even, you've taken some of those qualities or characteristics to model who you are as a leader?
Yeah, I mean, I probably can't name drop too many people that are super familiar to your listeners, but
Yeah.
like any business leader has had their fair share of mentors. Certainly right now, we're working with, this is our third partner actually, with our app, and his name is Charlie Patel, and he's helped us a lot with this journey. He's done, countless software collaborations, that kind of thing. He's really taught us the value of just collecting user feedback, just getting the product into people's hands and stop obsessing about getting everything perfect before you do a release, and then move from there. Someone else has been someone named Shane Dutka, who really helped us at our marketing agency, helped really hammer home the importance of really focusing on the quality of the product to distinguish ourselves from other agencies. Especially in that line of work, search engine optimization, there's a lot of people that make wild promises they might not really be able to deliver, or they're just outsourcing their work, white labeling it. So
Yeah.
he's helped there. And also, I guess I give a shout out to another gentleman named Tyler Higbee, who really helped with our sales process, helped productize our service. Just people who have been doing this a lot longer than me, or even my partner Greg. It's all really we can ask for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, totally makes sense to be able to surround yourself with some others that have kind of been where you're trying to get to, right? So what's the vision for you? I think championship leadership, I think of leaders that have an incredible vision, oftentimes can see things that others can't. And not only that, but have the courage to take action on it. So, what for you, what's the vision for you and the impact that you're looking to make, maybe even just in the next 5 years?
Yeah, sure. And I think taking action on it is the key, right? Because we
Yeah.
all great ideas, but then just getting down to it and making it happen is the tough part. And again, this is something I hadn't really put a ton of thought into until recently. I've been just really focused on one day at a time, but
Yeah.
now we are trying to see ahead. And I think we really want to become industry leaders in helping people do marketing themselves without having to necessarily pay thousands of dollars a month. We want to be the top in that space of connecting journalists and bloggers to business owners like myself or you or anyone really. Because there's a lot of I'd say there's a lot of software, a lot of apps in this space that have been around a very long time, and I think they get complacent. They don't really analyze what the users want currently, and I think we can change that and make a big impact there.
Gotcha. Yeah, absolutely. What maybe is I guess I call it like a critical moment or a turning point where obviously you made the decision that you have where, has you where you are today, but kind of that fork in the roads, right? You trying to figure out which way to go. And had you chosen differently, you'd be in a very different place in your life. I think there's a lot of people, especially over the last few years, in that moment right now, and there's strength in hearing how others have chose during those moments or times. Is there a moment that comes up for you could share?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mentioned earlier that I was actually a bartender about 6 years ago, and really I didn't stop 6 years ago. I'd say about half of my work was devoted to bartending because it was good money. But at the end of the day, it's not the kind of job where there's much room to grow beyond bartending unless you get enough money to start your own business or something like that. And so I was really kind of in this phase of hedging my bets. It's like, okay, we have a business that's doing well, but I know there's money here. I have at that time, my second child was just born, my daughter. And so I just really didn't want to go all in on something that I wasn't 100% sure of. It felt comforting kind of knowing like, okay, there's this other job that I can just leave the strategy to someone else and I'll just come in and get my paycheck.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened.
Yeah.
And so all the restaurants got shut down, right?
Yeah.
And so I had to make that choice. I'm like, um, am I going to go all in on the business? Or am I going to plan to return to the bartending? And so I know this made my partner Greg happy. I decided to just go all in on it.
Yeah.
It was kind of scary. And then eventually I got that call a couple of years ago, like, hey, Morgan, you want to come back to doing the bartending? And I told him, thank you, but no, thank you. Because at that point I was really all in. And
Yeah.
so I think it's hard it's a hard decision to make, but for people, I'm sure there's listeners here that are working on starting a business, doing their own thing, that kind of stuff, maybe their passion project, and then they have something on the side. But I think it is very difficult to run a business well if it's not your full focus. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what anyone's specific financial situation is. Hopefully what you're doing is making money and you can have some security there. But if you're questioning it, I say take the leap, you know?
Yeah. I mean, at some point you really need to, right? It's like serving two masters. It's really tough to be any good at any one thing when your energy is kind of split in half, right? So, I mean, at some point you got to, might not, there's some caution there, probably. Yes, for sure. And you don't want to make a decision that's going to be rash by any means, but at some point you got to kind of make that leap, right?
Yeah, and I think it applies to hiring. You know, if you're looking for someone, we've found the most success with the people we brought in as a full-time either employee or contractor, because then they're devoting their time to you. They don't have other clients, other gigs they're doing. They're less likely to just disappear on you for weeks on end or whatever it is. But I think as long as you can bring someone in full time and do right by them, of course, it helps a lot. So,
well, maybe talk a little bit more to the importance. I know you said like backlinking and SEO and things like that. I feel like that's something that a lot of people don't necessarily understand, or what the importance of that can be. I know I get hit up with probably 4 or 5 pitches for that a week, I would say, from different random people.
yeah, and are these people trying to sell their services, or are they trying to get a link on your backlink on your website or something?
Their services, or backlink to certain sites and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I can give I'll try and make this as simple as possible, an explanation, because I know SEO or search engine optimization can be a little bit daunting of a subject, but it's one that I would say, again, with after COVID, it takes on a higher level of importance than it used to.
Okay.
Especially if you're doing a remote business, and even if you're not. So really the idea is search engine optimization is what can you do to make Google like your website and make your website appear more easily on search results. And the benefit there is you get more traffic, more web traffic to your site, and therefore more clients, customers, whatever you're looking for. And so there's a few basic components of that. It's what kind of content or do you have on your website, and that might be a blog, articles, these kind of things that Google can pick up on and attach some relevance to. There's also a technical aspect, like has someone optimized your website fully, and then there's what we do, which is called backlinking, and that's how many other websites, authoritative websites, have a link to your website's URL on their site somewhere. And it might just be in an article they're writing and say, check out Nate Bailey, and then they have a link to your site or something like that. And it's a hard thing to do. So that's why a lot of people go to agencies. And it also has a reputation of being risky, because a lot of agencies use less than trustworthy techniques to get backlinks. So
sure,
what we do is really we try to take an organic approach, a natural approach. we reach out to journalists and bloggers, we look for journalists and bloggers who are searching for experts to comment on an article, and we see where our clients can fit into these requests and try to get them put into the article. And so these a lot of times end up on really, really good sites because they're legitimate journalists. And so that's mainly what we specialize in. And we do other backlinking as well. But again, that's that critical third component of a successful search engine optimization campaign. Hopefully that was broken down simplistically there. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it totally makes sense. Yeah, how you broke that down for sure. What's if there were one or two things that you could kind of share with the listeners, that if they were to take action today to help move their life, their business forward, what would that be? What are some principles or guiding points that you could give to the listeners?
Yeah. Okay. Well, here's a good one. Took me a little while to learn it. Look at what you're doing for your business, the tasks that you're doing, and try and break it down into, let's just say, $100 an hour tasks, $50 an hour tasks, and $10 an hour tasks. And thinking of it like, what level of experience would someone need to be doing these certain things? And then look at everything that's what could be categorized as a $10 an hour task, a VA level task. Set that aside, and then immediately start looking for a VA or someone who can do those for you, because you really don't want to be spending your time on I don't know, inputting data onto Google Sheets, these kind of things. It took me a long time to learn that one. I'm not sure why. I think a lot of business owners wanted to have everything in their hands, or maybe cost conscious, but it's worth that $400 or $500 a month you spend having someone do that for you.
Right.
So that's one. Second one, it kind of goes back to what I was saying, about hiring full-time people. Always keep recruiting. Never get complacent with recruiting, because there's always positions to fill. There's always positions that can be filled better, maybe by an outside professional, that kind of thing. You don't always have to be hiring in-house, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The tendency is always just to elevate people that do well in your business. And our problem, sometimes you might put them in a position that really they're in over their head, or it's just not something they want to do, but they want to make you happy and do what they think will be good for the business. So it's another one that took a little while to learn. Third one, don't get involved with software whatsoever. Third one, I don't know. Let me think. I guess if you are going to, this is another good one. It kind of relates to the first point. If you are going to spend a lot of time on something, I think where we've gotten a lot of return on our investment is having the owners directly involved in the brand building. Get yourself out there, develop the brand. That's where you can really make a big impact, and that'll pay huge dividends later. It might just be getting involved in social media groups, doing podcasts, whatever, out there, and try to build yourself up as a authority in whatever your field is, and it will pay off later at some point. Maybe not right away, but it will pay off.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's great. Yeah, I love that. I know what I put off hiring a VA for a long time. Number one, I couldn't really in the moment think of what I would have them do. And then secondly, I don't know. You're just like, it's hard to give up that control, to your point. But then once I made that leap, like, it was very easy for me to think of all kinds of things that I was doing that I was like, why don't I just have my VA do this? Because I don't want to be doing it. So it's interesting. It was weird, I had a lot of resistance to it at first, but then once I made that leap, my life was so much better. So yeah, I like absolutely 100%. If you're in that moment, you've been thinking about it, you own a business, do it. You'd be so happy that you did, for sure. So
exactly. And if it's a trust issue, just get them started doing some really basic stuff. No email access, anything like that, and get a sense of the person. And that kind of
Right.
thing.
100%. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about, your company and how, if you're on social media, if we can follow you, or what's the best place to check you guys out? And I know you got the app, obviously. So yeah, like where listeners can find out more about what you guys are up to.
Yeah, we have our Facebook group. I don't know if I can give the URL here or what the best way to do that would be.
Yeah, you could do that, or you will definitely get it linked up. If you want to send it to me, we'll make sure that we get it there. But if you wanted to, I don't know if the URL's easy to to say, or if it'd be easier for us to just link it up for you in the show notes.
Yeah, I'll send the link after, but
That'd be
it's
great.
our journalist outreach mastermind, and that's a pretty popular Facebook group.
Okay.
It's basically people getting together to share techniques on doing outreach to get backlinks, how to use Help a Reporter Out, basically any legitimate way of earning backlinks. It's a big point of discussion. We
Sure.
do lots of great posts there. Anyone's welcome to contribute. So that's pretty cool. So I invite everyone to come check out the group.
Okay.
Of course, you can come check out our site directly, Jolly SEO. That's JOLLYSEO.co. You can schedule a call with myself if you'd like to speak. And then of course we have our link sorcery platform. So that's just link sorcery, SOURCERY.com.
Good.
So you can check that out. Also, I'm always on LinkedIn as well. So that's pretty much about it. And and we have a YouTube channel as well. So
Awesome. And that's what?
I gotta I'll send you
Send that over. We'll get that linked. We'll get that linked in too. So as you're listening, you want to check any of those out, just go ahead and grab that off the show notes. And appreciate you, Morgan, for being here. For the listener, if you want more incredible content from guests and experts like Morgan here today, just stay right here. Don't go anywhere. Listen in for the next episode coming up. I appreciate you and your time today, Morgan. It's been great.
Yeah. Thanks, Nate.